Hello. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to the replay. If you are catching this on replay, let me know by dropping the word replay in the comments. You are in for a really good conversation. So I appreciate you for being here. If this is your first time here, welcome to the Confetti Collective. I am Mo James. I am the founder of the Confetti Collective. And what we do here is inspire women of all ages to boost their confidence. We believe that confidence is a building block. It's a foundational piece of creating the big, beautiful life that you desire. So everything that we do supports you in your confidence building journey. And we do that through our content, much like the conversation that we're about to have today, our products, and a whole bunch of other things. Everything is centered around you becoming the most confident version of yourself. So I'm excited to welcome you all for this conversation. And before we get into the chat with this beautiful lady that you see here on screen, I want to tell you a little bit about how this all came about. So like I already said, everything that we do here is designed to support women in their confidence building journey. And on May 16th, a couple of weeks ago, we hosted a virtual event. And it was the Remember the Ladies Virtual Summit. It originally was planned to be an in-person event, and we had to shift, like everybody else had to shift in response to COVID-19. We hosted this event. We had 12 speakers covering all types of topics, finance and purpose and women's health and planning dinner parties and all of those types of things. And during my session, Becoming Her, we talked about how to activate the parts of ourselves that we need when we need them. And the conversation centered a lot around the importance of being surrounded by women. Those of us that are on our confidence journeys, recognizing the importance of having other women around us because we can learn from them. They're women that are supportive and that are also moving forward and creating their big, beautiful lives and are willing to share the lessons that they have learned will help us. I like to say their testimony becomes our operating manual for the rest of our journey. So I'm excited to be here today because when I was thinking about that conversation that we had, I thought, well, I want to create this. I want to do this for more women because I recognize that, with all of us being in self-isolation and things like that, we might not have that community. We might not have that sister circle support around us. So I reached out to the women in our community known as the Collective. They always come through and asked who wanted to do this, who wanted to participate, who wanted to be a part. And I'm excited to be here with the first person that said yes, Chantals, again, to give us all that got those tips and those helpful lessons that she has learned that we can all apply to our lives. We don't believe here at the Confetti Collective that so much of our confidence journey and our personal growth and evolution journey is just for us, but it's for us to help somebody else. We don't evolve and watch another woman dissolve at the same time. So I am very excited to be here with Chantals, who is a part of the collective and has been for a while. If you saw when this post got scheduled on the page, there was a picture that was used that is me literally laying on Chantals' stomach. Like in this a part of a photo shoot that we did years ago for the brand. And again, everything that we do, the women that support the Confetti Collective are infused in everything. You see them on our website. You see their faces on our website. You see their faces in the stuff that we share online. And it's so awesome. And I'm so excited to be able to have this conversation with Chantals. Again, her story helps us, just like your story can help another woman. So Chantals, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for saying yes. I know you are still working and, doing the thing and navigating family and jobs and everything. So I so appreciate you for being here and for wanting to be a part of this thing. I don't even know what they're calling this yet, if this is going to be a series, but thank you for saying yes.
Yes, you are welcome. I think it should be a series. I think that we need to share this with everybody and keep it going.
Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. So yeah, like I said, the goal is for us to be able to give women that are part of our community an opportunity to share their story. And I'm not talking about telling all your business. but sharing the parts of the journey that we all have gone through that we know will help and will benefit another woman. So Chantel, tell us a little bit, tell our audience a little bit about who you are and what your story is and how you've learned to embrace all of your story as a woman.
Okay, so I'm glad you said a little bit because I'm gonna give you the shortened version. So basically, I grew up in a single parent household. My mom was a single mother. My dad and I didn't reunite until I was about 12. Um, Prior to that time, I had gone through being molested, watching my mom be in very bad abusive relationships, things like that. So by the time I got of age to really start thinking about dating, I had this warped mindset about what a relationship was, what was acceptable, what was not acceptable. And then that led me to being very angry and bitter about things that had happened in my life and looking for love in the wrong places. And then dipping into, alcohol and smoking marijuana. I know because like sometimes we separate, like I didn't do drugs, I just smoke weed sometimes. So
Hmm.
so that separation. But then the promiscuity and then also being suicidal. So I dealt with these things, and it was interesting when I saw your post because I've been thinking a lot about how I could help more people. And I was like, oh, yes, this is the perfect opportunity to be able to share what I've gone through so I can help somebody else with this. But, fast forward in my story, I ended up getting married at 20. I went through the same cycle that my mom went through in bad relationships. I had a son at 20 years old, and I ended up getting a divorce because I didn't want my son to watch me be in an abusive relationship. But I didn't change the way that I thought. So I continue to have bad relationships. I had my second son when I was 23. By that time, I was homeless. This was in 2008. So the depression had happened, or the recession had happened. So I was homeless. I had lost my job. I had been in a car accident, lost my car. So now I'm like, okay, what am I supposed to do with my life? And I got another baby on the way. So I ended up moving back to Sierra Vista with my mom and got on welfare, or back on welfare, which was like a really hard thing for me to do because that's not the life that I wanted. So then a year after that, I remember God waking me up. It was like 4 in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. But he
Oh,
told me
oh, you know it's about to be something heavy. You know it.
exactly. He was like, I want you to write a book about your journey and how you overcame. And I'm like, overcame what? Do you see my life right now? It is a hot mess. I have just overcome. But at that time, that's when I really realized what I now call my 7 year healing journey. Because from the moment I started writing that book, he started working out things in my life to help me overcome those things, to the point that I was able to heal from the selfless, or the insecurities that I had, so that I could be able to help other people, so that I stopped getting into those bad relationships where people were going to treat me badly, and I would know my own self-worth, so that I could be at a place where I can make enough money and I didn't have to be reliant on government assistance, and I could be sufficient in trusting in him to provide for me and not needing somebody else to do it for me. And then also from that 7 years, I published 3 books. I began making YouTube videos. I also have a inspiring beauty and believers page with over 10,000 followers on it, so I can encourage other people. It's a lot of people. I say that I encourage women, but I have men who have been encouraged by my messages and stuff. So I'm just helping other people to grow through the stuff that I had to learn and be transparent enough to grow through.
Now, you just said all types of, like, first, kind of making that difficult decision, because when it's interesting how when we are in stuff, even when we know, okay, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this, or I made some mistakes that got me here, it probably still took you it took humility for you to say, you know what, I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna go back to mom and restart and regroup. Not let that it was easy to let your ego say, well, you know what, I got this. Or to even be in denial about the situation, be in denial about the patterns that kind of led you to that point. Because so many things that you said, I experienced in my own life, and I recognize, you know, it kind of took that. Some people call it a rock bottom moment, but it definitely is a moment of clarity and recognizing that, oh, so it was a series of bad decisions that led me here. So I recognize the pattern in those decisions. So now let me figure out how to change going forward so I could change the rest of my life.
That,
That is
yes.
so good. That is so good. And again, like you said, you're already doing this and sharing your story, inspiring beauty and believers, is already helping other people learn that they can do it too.
Yes.
So important. That's so important. And, you know, so much of what we go through is not just for us. It's so that when we encounter somebody else that is going through similar things, we can be that example and say, you know what, been there, did this, and now I'm here. So we can be that encouragement to other people. So I love that. And thank you so much for even sharing that little piece of the story. I know, Chantel, that you are a spiritual woman, and I definitely recognize, you know, it comes through in the business and in the brand, the power of words and the power of speaking life to your situation, to yourself, to whomever. So do you have like go-to scriptures or quotes or just phrases or mantras that you will sometimes repeat to yourself or remind you or use to remind you that, you know what, this is a temporary situation. I can get out of this. What are some of those things that you have, those quotes or words that you use to kind of keep you going?
So my biggest thing is I definitely go to the word, and there are so many scriptures. I I can't even give you, like, I give you a whole list of them. But when I think about quotes, I think about this poem called "Our Deepest Fear" by Mary Ann
Mary,
Williamson, and I printed it so I could read it, because just in case anybody ain't ever heard this, y'all need to hear this. Is our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we're liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
child,
I know I want to throw a shoe right now. I almost took off running.
throw something.
That is every time I read that, I'm just like, yes, I can do this. Like,
That
I
don't have
can't be
you
small.
just go climb a mountain. If that don't have you ready to go do whatever it is you've been telling yourself you can't do,
Yes.
that that is so good. That Denise is in the chat like, yes, with the hands raised. Yes, that right there. That is everything. That is everything.
Yes.
And even as you were reading it, I hear scripture underneath those words too. So you know, it's confirmation on top of confirmation. And that again is something that I think we all need at least the one thing, the one, you know, reminder, that one phrase or saying that we can repeat to ourselves so that it becomes imprinted in our own minds and in our hearts. And that's the thing, because sometimes you don't always have somebody else to speak that to you. We have to be able to speak that to ourselves. That is so
I
good,
would say,
Chantal.
encourage yourself in the Lord.
That, that, and that. And I love that you even gave that quote, because in it where she says, you know, you're not serving anybody by playing small. And I think about, you know, being in unfamiliar territory and uncomfortable situations. That's our tendency. Our tendency when we're in a new environment or unfamiliar space is to just say, well, you know what, I'm gonna just sit in this corner and I'm just gonna be quiet. I'm not gonna cause anybody to pay attention to me. I'm gonna just blend in with the wallpaper. But that doesn't serve the world. That doesn't serve anybody.
Right.
So tell us, can you recall a time that you might have found yourself in that new situation, in a new environment, and you chose not to play small, or maybe you did? Either way, I believe there's still a lesson. So can you talk a little bit about an instance where you might have been in that unfamiliar place and the value or the lesson that you learned on the other side?
Child. So let me tell you. Okay, so back in 2018, I was headed to a doctor's appointment, and I was behind this truck, and the truck had Isaiah 40 verse 31 on it, and it said trust God. Yes, and I'm like, okay, and the Lord was like, do you trust me? And I was like, yes, Lord, I trust you. And I did not know what that was going to entail at that moment. And so, you know, so from that moment, I had medical issues that started happening. My body came under attack. My finances came under attack. My marriage came under attack. My children came under attack. And, you know, for me, it went into 2019. 2019 felt like a living hell, all the way till, you know, we got to 2020. And after my daughter was born, I was like, you know what, enough is enough. I'm tired of this. And because I kept saying, okay, God, I trust you, and, you know, okay, this happened, but, you know, I can make it out of this. And I kept trying to figure out how I'm gonna make it out of this, but at the same time, I felt like I was shrinking even more. I was not being my authentic self anymore, because it was just like beating me down so bad. So by the time my daughter got here, I was like, I'm done with all this crying. I'm done with playing small and not being who I know I'm supposed to be. I trust God, and Satan, we're not going to do this anymore, because I'm stepping out on faith and I'm going to do exactly what he told me to do. And even though it was scary, I made the transition in my life to do what I know I needed to do. And it's just like doors have opened up in a humongous way. In like less than 2 months' time, things have like completely turned around, because I just said, God, I'm just going to trust you, like for real. Like, I know I said I trust you, but then all this stuff happened and I was like, I don't really know what you're doing. You should have told me this before you asked me that question, Jesus.
Do this for real. I'm gonna quit playing for real.
Yes, for real. I'm gonna trust you now, for real, Jesus. And it just changed. And so coming out of that, I remembered whose I was, and I didn't have to do this by myself. And it made me stronger. It put a fire in me that's like, I can't even explain. Like, my faith went to a whole different level. Like, this is a whole new trust that I never had before, because I know that he has my back. And no matter what I go through, and no matter how painful it is, I can come out victorious on the other side, and my life can still be beautiful.
Okay, you just set up the next question perfectly. Thank you. I was definitely going to say, you know, when we're in the middle, when we're in the fight, when we're in the battle, when we're dealing with the struggles, it's hard to think about who we're going to be after it's over, because it's cray all around us. You can't even see the next step. So looking back on it, having the ability to kind of be able to look back on it now, even though you're still fresh out of it, we still midway 2020.
Right.
How are you able to see the change in you as a woman? What did that experience create in you? Who did you become after kind of the sum of all of the experiences, and definitely in that last one, because you spoke about it so clearly and so well? Who did you become as a result? Who do you think you are right now?
I think I'm still becoming her. I think that it's a constant. Every day I wake up and there's a new, different kind of joy, a new, different kind of fight in me. I became a fighter in there. I realized that I don't have to necessarily. I can be strong, but I can be loving at the same time. I don't have to let people walk over me. I can be this amazing person and still accept that I have flaws. That's a big part of who I'm becoming. I'm realizing that I'm amazing. I'm amazing just the way I am, just the way that he created me. Through all the hurts and pains in the past, I'm becoming a woman who understands that love is an action word that leads you to forgiving what happened in your past and letting go of those things and being able to walk out your purpose and your destiny. I'm a woman who desires to help other people. I'm becoming this woman who can say, I've been through what you've gone through. Give me your hand. I'm going to walk with you with this because you're not by yourself. And I'm going to keep becoming that woman more and more until I breathe my last breath. And then I have become her.
Boom.
Right there. Drop the mic. That's it.
That is it. That is so, and you, that was perfect because it is this process. We're never done. You know, we're not done until we leave this side.
Yes.
Every day is a new opportunity to grow. And sometimes those opportunities, require us to walk through the fire. Other times those opportunities give us the chance to take somebody else by the hand and say, hey, you know what? I got you. Or this is what I did. Or here's how I can help. Or it just to give an encouraging word. That is so perfect. And I love what you said, because this is me all the way. I just had this experience the other day. You said you recognize that who you are and that you are a fighter. And I think as women, so often that is finessed out of us. That's conditioned out of us. We usually don't see the fighter come out in women until they become a mother. We hear the mama bear coming out to defend her babies, but whether we have children or not, we still are deserving of having healthy relationships, and we can go out here and advocate for ourselves, which is one of the tenets of what we talk about here at the Confetti Collective, saying I can create the type of relationships that I want. I can establish and enforce my boundaries that are healthy for me.
Right.
That's so good.
Those boundaries, yes.
Good. And the thing is, go ahead.
Another thing I just thought about, like, because you said that they finesse the fighter out of us, and it's true, especially being African American women. They say, oh, you just ghetto and you just loud. And for so long, I'm like, okay, well, I have to be quiet. And I realized you can be a fighter and still be graceful in it. Like, I'll go smooth off on you and I'll be like, you have a great day. But in Jesus' name.
Yes. But we are all of those things. We are all of those things. We are the warrior. We are the wisdom. We are the creator. We are the nurturer. We are all of those things. And it's as we grow and as we move along the journey of becoming, that's what I think we start to learn more about ourselves. We start to discover those pieces of us that have always been there.
Right.
Life just never gave us an opportunity to awaken those parts of us. We didn't have that particular obstacle that caused us to recognize who we are and what's already in us. So good. So good.
Yes.
So like I said, we believe in the power of affirmations here at the Confetti Collective, and we talk about why confidence is such an important variable in that process of creating that big, beautiful life that we want, because it allows us to create those boundaries and advocate for ourselves and for our loved ones and just create the life that we want. So before we go, Chantel, before I let you go, I want to ask you a final question. Just indulge me here, like just rock with me here for a second.
Okay.
So like I said at the top, you have been in the collective. You've been a part of the brand for a long time. Back, I think that was that was probably I think we did that photo shoot in 2016,
Right.
a long time. So how did you how did you kind of come to learn about the Confetti Collective? What first attracted you, and what's keeping you around? Why are you sticking around?
I think, man, it's been so long ago. I think I saw you somewhere, and I liked your shirt, and the BYOB, and I was like, oh, that's cute, and so I wanted to get one, and I was like, oh, she does other stuff with natural hair and everything, and she's promoting all these different things, and so I just kind of stuck around, and then I liked what you said because you were empowering women. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna stick with her because she's saying the right stuff, and I need people around me who's gonna be speaking life just like that.
Yes. And you clearly are an OG, because we don't sell the shirts anymore. Like that is an indication that you
Mhm.
have been around for a long time. You know, the Be Your Own Beautiful thing started out on a shirt, and then we transitioned into jewelry. But it's my understanding that you have a shirt, at least one, and
I
you also
agree.
have, you you also have one of the pieces of jewelry.
Hmm. I got
What do what
two cuff link. The cuff bracelets. I don't know if y'all can see that one. Is love yourself, and then all I need is within me.
Listen, talk about the quote to speak life into yourself. So tell me what kind of attracted you to those ones in particular, and you're wearing them right now, so
Right.
you wear them. They're a part of your daily life.
Yes. So the big thing for me was with the love yourself one, um, just loving yourself even with all your flaws. You may have things you don't like about you. I have given birth to three children. I got stretch marks now. I'm not the weight I necessarily want to be. That's partly my fault because I don't go to the gym. So I own my stuff and I like to eat.
Oh, and
But just loving yourself, your flaws and all, and embracing who you are, knowing that it's just a part of your journey of who you're going to become. So that's why I got that one, because if you don't love yourself, first and foremost, for me, if I don't embrace the love that God has for me, then I don't know how to rightly love myself. But if I don't love myself, then out of me, out of the abundance that's in me, is what's going to flow onto other people. So how can I say I love somebody else if I don't even really love me? So,
mm,
so that's
mm.
that one. We're gonna let that marinate for a minute.
Let that sit for a spell.
And then the other one, all I need is within me, is just reminding me daily that what I need is already on the inside of me. Like the greater one is within me. So then he that is in the world. So it doesn't matter what comes up against me. I have what it takes to overcome these things. And I don't have to be afraid that something's going to take me out. If you think about David and Goliath, David came with some stones and he was this little bitty boy, and Goliath was this huge obstacle he had to overcome. But what he had on the inside of him was greater than what he saw, and he just had to hold and trust to that. So that is what that reminds me of. What I have is already here. The woman that I know that I shall ultimately become is already inside of me, and every day she's just growing. She's just becoming even better.
You just preached the whole word right there, Chantel. You just said all the things to set this thing up so perfectly. And Deandra just dropped this comment. She said, so good. Thank you for being brave and courageous and sharing your story. And that's why that's why it was on me so heavily to do this. Because again, we are walking around carrying the keys to help somebody else unlock their own tribulation or their own struggle. And if we can just share it,
Yeah.
just tell it, just tell the lessons, then we can look. Denise says she running. We can help somebody else get to where they're trying to get to. That is
Yeah.
Chantel. This was absolute perfection.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now, before we go, tell the people that are watching again where they can follow you, your platform, because you're doing this work and even more on your platform. So let our viewers know where they can find you, where they can follow, where they can connect.
All right. So you can follow me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. All of them are Inspiring Beauty and Believers. I post videos every Saturday on YouTube, and then I post a daily message of some sort or whatever comes to my heart every day on Facebook and on Instagram. And then my books are available on Amazon. So the latest book is Growing Pains. That's the one where I talk about my healing process.
So perfect. So good. Thank you. So thank you for trusting me with even being able to hold space for you to share. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being a part of the collective. Just thank you. Thank you so very much. I appreciate you so much. Those of you that are watching, definitely check out Chantel. The caption will be updated with all of her links so you can follow and connect. And yeah, this is the start of a beautiful something.
I'm so excited. I already see we're gonna do this again. We're gonna be on stage together.
Listen, I receive that.
Yes.
I receive that. All right. Thank you, Chantel, again so much. Thank you all so very much for tuning in. If you are a woman and you have something to share, let us know. You can email us at info@theconfetticollective.com. Remember what we said, your testimony is somebody else's operating manual. You can inspire and uplift and encourage somebody right now just with the power of your experiences, the power of your story. Thank you again so much. Thank y'all for tuning in. Until the next broadcast, I will catch you later.